Okay, well, hello everybody. You join me again in the Stinger, and this, obviously by the title of the video, is the post-recall update. I was going to make this video outside, but it's insanely windy, so I decided not to. Anyways, so yeah, I've had the car back for... close date, today's the 29th, so I've had the car back for almost a month. I mean, I've had it back for a little while. Anyways, so, yeah. Long story short, everything is fine. My car has been pretty much how it was when I took it in. No changes, no overheating, no nothing. So, from what I understand is the problem that a lot of owners have been having is when they get their car back, the car has been leaking coolant or overheating or something like that. And the presumed most likely cause for that is because when you do this recall, you had to take apart all of the cooling system for the engine and, like, you know, like I said, a bunch of other stuff in my... I said everything in my previous video. But anyways, when you put the cooling system back in, you have to re-flush it. Like, you know, you got to refill it and you got to put the coolant in and whatever. And coolant lines cannot have air in the coolant line because it causes issues. So the prevailing theory is that when the tech has put everything back together, they did not bleed the coolant lines fully, so the car was given back with air in the coolant system, and then they drove it, and then the engine overheated, and that was it. So from what I've heard, this was pretty much immediate. Like, people said that they made it literally like 2 miles down the road, and then their car threw all the overheating, whatever, and then they had to get a tow truck and get it towed back to the dealer. So, like, if something's wrong with your car, you're likely gonna know pretty quickly. Again, this did not happen to my car. Nothing happened to my car. And when I left the dealership, I drove it, like, decently hard to make sure that everything was fine. So I myself can't speak from experience of, like, oh, well, this is what went wrong with my car and blah, 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 because nothing went wrong. So, I don't know. I think what I said in my previous video is kind of sticking to be true. I think, unfortunately, this does come down to a dealer-by-dealer basis. I also had somebody comment on my old video saying that, like, they dropped their car off and then it didn't even get touched for 5 days. So, you know, yeah, unfortunately, it really is just a dealer-by-dealer basis, and luckily I have a good dealer with a good certified tech to do all the maintenance on this car, so nothing went wrong with mine. And I had a couple friends who got theirs done at the same dealer, and their cars were fine too. So, in terms of, like, what can you do? Not really anything. I have heard, like, that a lot of owners are debating not even doing the recall. To which I will say I don't think that's a good idea to go that path. Honestly, like, this recall is pretty important because, like, yeah, if that oil leaks in your engine bay and it ignites, you don't have a car anymore. Like, I would rather have the inconvenience of not having my car for a couple days, even if something goes wrong after I get it back, than having my car burned to the ground, personally. with that being said, obviously, like, you know, it's everybody's choice. If you don't want to get it done, don't get it done. But I would recommend still getting it done. I think it is still an important recall to do. Because again, if it does happen, like, you're done. Like, you can't save it. You cannot save an engine fire, basically. I mean, and even if you do, it's how far is it going to get? How many components are going to be burnt to a crisp before you stop it? You know, like, to me, it's not worth it. If you live somewhere where you're concerned about, like, the tech not being properly qualified, I would try to find someone in your area who has gotten it done at your specific dealership and say, how did it go? And if it didn't go well, then maybe look if there's another one close by within, 30 miles of you that you could take it to instead. Like, I don't know. There's unfortunately not a whole lot of, like, options outside of just getting it done or not getting it done. But again, like, I haven't had any issues. I've put probably, easily over 500 miles on the car since I've gotten it back, and absolutely nothing has gone wrong. I've pushed it hard too, and it's never overheated, it's never turned off, it's never, like, done anything. So my experience has been a success. Now, again, I have heard multiple people in the Facebook groups and online elsewhere that is not the case. So, I don't know. Unfortunately, there's really not much you can do, because you can't stand there and watch the tech do it, and you can't stand there and say, well, make sure you do it right, and, like, you can't really do that. So, I don't know, like, on mine, yeah, it's a pretty small, it's a pretty, basic paper, but, yeah, it doesn't go too far in depth of, like, how they did it or anything. It basically just says vehicle issued recall or service action completed. Oil feed pipe and hose assembly is the recall. The service was performed. Blah blah blah. I also had them replace my cabin air filter when it was there because it was starting to smell. Yeah, so that's really all it says on my receipt. So it's not very informative, which, whatever. So I don't really know what else to say about it. My car's been fine. I have not, like, personally met anyone who has gotten the recall done and gotten their car back and it was janky or messed up or anything. So I don't even know what to look for other than the overheating thing. That seems to be the most common issue, which again is because the coolant system is not properly reinstalled and flushed and refilled and whatever. So I have also heard that, and again, this is probably a dealer by dealer thing, but, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently Kia, like, as a company, has only allotted 3 hours of service time for the recall, which to me makes zero sense at all, because it takes longer than 3 hours to even take everything apart. So 3 hours to complete the whole service, I find that a little difficult to believe. I wouldn't find it difficult to believe that, like, they're trying to pay their techs less hours to do it. I'd believe that, but, like, this job by no means takes 3 hours. It takes almost 2 full days. My car was a full day and a half minimum. So, yeah, I don't know what that's about, and I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I've heard. Now, I will say my car was within the first 3 that went in to get this done at the dealership that I used. And on one hand, I was a little nervous about it because it kind of made me a guinea pig, I guess, because like it's one of the first ones and maybe they don't know exactly what they're doing and whatever. But on the other hand, it was done quickly. And what I mean by that is, again, someone reached out to me and said, yeah, they haven't even touched my car, and it's been there for 3 days because they have 5 other stingers that have to get this done. Well, it's like, yeah, well, if you wait to get it in, you're going to be in the queue. And so, like, this being my only car, that wasn't really an option for me. And, like, if the dealer doesn't have a loaner, like, I'd be screwed. So, I just got mine done as quick as I could. And I'm happy that I did, because, yeah, one, it was done quickly, and 2, you know, I was without a car for a day and a half instead of a week or 5 days or whatever. Now, it does mean that I was a guinea pig, but that ended up not being a problem because everything worked fine. So, my personal recommendation is go get it done. Just get it done as soon as you can, get your car back, whatever, and just do it. You know, recalls happen on every car. They happen for a reason. Like, nobody recalls cars just to recall them and inconvenience their customers. Like, it's a legitimate concern. Any recall that is issued that has the potential for an engine fire should not be ignored. In my opinion, it shouldn't be ignored. I understand that a lot of Stinger owners have issues with Kia service and stuff like that. I get it. But again, I would rather have my engine overheat for a few minutes and have to take it back and get the coolant line fixed than not get the recall done, have oil catch on fire, and my car burn to the ground. Because then I don't have the car at all. So that's my take on it. That's my experience. Everything went well. They were very, at least my dealer was very communicative, very, forthcoming. They got it done early. And they did it right because nothing is broken. Everything's working fine. And I've taken the car on like decently long drives and turned it on and off all the time, and everything's fine. So I'm happy I did it. I've heard success stories from other owners, and I've heard horror stories from other owners too. So, unfortunately, I guess it is kind of a hit or miss. And there's not really anything you can do about that. Anyways, it's up to you guys. It's up to other owners whether you get it done or not. My recommendation is to do it because to me, it's not worth the risk. Even if the risk is small, I understand that. But again, recalls happen for a reason. They had to discover that this was an issue in the first place to even issue a recall. So, there were enough cars that had caught fire for them to sit there and say, oh, well, maybe this is an issue that we need to address. To me, that's enough to say, okay, I'm getting it done on my car. So, I don't know. That's my take on it. But the car's been running great. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm super happy that I got it done. I'm super happy that it went well. I'm really happy with the tech, with the dealer. My experience was great. If yours wasn't, yeah, sorry. And if that kind of stuff is a problem for you, then, maybe you're in the wrong car. Anyways, that's all I got. Again, I was gonna do this outside and show the car, but it is it's so windy because it's storming. Anyways, so yeah, if you have a Stinger and you got your recall done, feel free to comment on this video and let me know how it went. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. So, see you next time.